ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshetarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. So we completed until I think verse number 8. Okay, so we are reading about the conversation between Srila Narada Dev and Srila Vyasadev. And we know that even though Vyasadev is a incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is also feeling despondent, even though he has compiled and developed so much spiritual literature. And we also feel that way sometimes. So we are getting a good clue into this, that what could be the reason that we also feel the same way. Although we are no way, our work is no way equal to Vyasadeva by any means, but still we get a good clue that why we might be feeling despondent at certain times. Sri Narada said, "You have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead." See, so this is the main key theme. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. So we will continue from text 9. यथा धर्मादयश्चार्था मुनिवर्यानुकीर्तितः न तथा वासुदेवस्य महिमा हि अनुवर्णितः. Yatha, as much as, dharma adayah, all four principles of religious behavior, cha and arthah, purposes, munivarya, by yourself, the great sage, anu kirtitah, repeatedly described, na, not, tatha, in that way, Vasudevasya, of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Mahima, glories, he certainly, Anuvarnitah, so constantly described. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. What are those four principles? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So, economic development, religious, religiosity, economical development, then sense gratification, and then liberation. So, this is the cycle in which most of the people are in. Naraji is saying, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described the glories of Supreme Personality Vasudeva. So now we have to learn this thing, that where the emphasis should be given. Many times people say, "आप बहुत भगवान भगवान करते हो, you talk too much about God." But that's what we are, right? That's whom we are supposed to glorify. And those who say that, they probably don't want to listen that much, so they are not invested in that so much. But Prabhupada is trying to give us this chanting of the holy name, which will give us the ultimate realization of Krishna as personality. And also Lord Chaitanya came to give the love of Godhead of Vrindavan, Gopis, Madhurya Bhav, that he came to give as a gift, because he was himself in the mood of Radharani, right? So these are such high level gifts that even when we talk about it, but we don't really understand what they are, right? So that's why even while we are practicing, so sometimes we might uh, suppress some principle, or do something more, but everything is meant for glory of Krishna, and everything is meant for service of Krishna. So that point we have to like note in our heart very nicely. So Narad ji is saying that four principles. So people in general, in particularly in India, they think that हम सब कर रहे हैं, हम सब पूजा वगैरह सब करते हैं, सब भगवानों का करते हैं, and then we are earning, and if we are enjoying, what's the problem there, right? But then what's the problem? Then they are gonna come back, and this cycle will keep going, this samsara chakra, and we will never released to go back to Godhead, because we are making a choice, right? So these things need to be properly noted. So Naradji is saying, not anyone like Prabhupada, or not, he's like not personally saying that, but Naradji, authority of Srila Narada, he's saying that you have not described the glories of Supreme Personality Vāsudeva. So he's not saying you did not describe the glories of this devata or that devata. He's explicitly saying that glories of Supreme Personality Vāsudeva, who is son of Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. Purport. The prompt diagnosis of Sri Narada is at once declared. The root cause of despondency of Vyasadeva was his deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. So while it is called deliberate, because it's not that Vyasadeva did not understand the glories of devotional service or glories of Krishna, but he didn't, I mean, give so much emphasis to it, right? So that's why it is being said that deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. So sometimes, some people say that, oh, don't, give so much lecture to children. What will they understand? But, we understand what is the importance of devotional service. So lovingly, we can tell them the glories of devotional service, and we can talk to that level with them. It's not that they are very little so they won't understand. We have to tell them in their own words, right, in the way they will understand. But it's not that we should not even talk about these elevated topics, you know so deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. He has certainly, as a matter of course, given description of glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, but not as many as given to religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. These four items are by far inferior to engagement in devotional service of Lord. Sri Vyasadeva, as the authorized scholar, knew very well this difference, and still, instead of giving more importance to the better type of engagement, namely devotional service to the Lord, he had more or less improperly used his valuable time, and thus he was despondent, right? So the reason for our despondency is we ourselves, right? This is also we are learning from this purport, that we make certain choices because of which we become despondent. From this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased substantially without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is clearly mentioned. So, Bhagavan Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, right? So he always is advocating bhakti. We saw in our Bhakti Vriksha lessons that in 647, Krishna is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma. Bhajate means bhakti, right? So bhakti is made from bhaj root. Bhajate yomam same yukta tamo matah. After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called stage of self-realization or the Brahmabhuta stage. After attainment of this Brahmabhuta stage, one is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world. So we should become neutral, right? Not attached to one thing or the other, and consider everything equally. But generally what happens that we are more attached to people or things which are directly related to us. So we are not equal in our vision right now. And we are not neutral. We take sides. We love one more over other, like that, because of bodily identification, right? This is the instruction of the personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of Brahmabhuta stage, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Narada recommended to Vyasadeva that he, Vyasadeva, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency, right? So enthusiasm and repetition, right? So many times we feel very bored, that same thing, same artis, same Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we want varieties. But then in material world, we see that when we have so many varieties, then we go mad after them, right? We want one after another variety. Now, really, I mean, in this world so many inventions are happening, still people are not satisfied. AI, this, that, so much is happening, still they are not satisfied. So there is no time to do anything for self realization, and then condition is becoming more and more miserable. So actually the reality lies in repetition, like if somebody is in love with someone, then they want to see them again and again, right? Although there is a ulterior motive of sense gratification, but see, they want to see them again and again, the same person, right? So their repetition we like because there is sense gratification involved. But here we don't like because um, there is no immediate gratification for us, right? So chanting is boring, and everyday aarti is same thing, same bhagavad, same purports. People also say that every purport look like same, there is no difference, like Prabhupada is talking same thing again and again. No, but the level from where Prabhupada is speaking, he's seeing so much difference everywhere. He's giving different flavors in one sense. So when we reach to some level of taste, then we will be able to also see all these things. So that's why Narad Muni is saying eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency. Means not only he is telling others, but only by telling this, sharing it with others, will remove our despondency. So how much preaching and sharing this knowledge with love and compassion is important. Verse 10. Na na yadvachaschitrapadam na yadvachaschitrapadam harer yasho jagat pavitram pragranita karhichit tadvayasam tirtham ushanti manasa na yatra hamsa nira niramanti ushikakshaya ushikakshaya na not yat that vachah vocabulary chitrapadam decorative hare of the Lord yashah glories jagat universe pavitram sanctified pragranita described karhichit hardly tat that vyasam vayasam crows tirtham place of pilgrimage ushanti think manasaha saintly persons na not yatra where Hamsaha, all perfect beings. Uh, Niramanti, take pleasure. Ushikaksha, Ushikshayaha, those who reside in transcendental abode. Those words, so it is very important words. Those
I
words,
can read, Mataji. I'm
oh,
in
you
the room
can?
now. Yeah.
Sure, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly person to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect person are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there.
Mm.
Purport. Crows and swans are not birds of the same feather because of their different mental attitudes. The fruitive workers or passionate men are compared to the crows, whereas the all perfect saintly persons are compared to the swans. The crows take pleasure in a place where garbage is thrown out, just as the passionate fruitive worker takes pleasure in wine and woman and places for gross sense pleasure. The swans do not take pleasure in the places where crows are assembled for conferences and meetings. They are instead seen in the atmosphere of natural scenic beauty where there are transparent reservoirs of water nicely decorated with stems of lotus flowers in very variegated colors of natural beauty. That is difference between the two classes of birds. Nature has influenced different species of life with different mentalities, and it is not possible to bring them up on into the same rank and file. Similarly, there are different kinds of literature for different types of men of different mentality. Mostly the market literatures, mostly the market literatures which attract men of the crows category are literatures containing refused remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle mind. They are full of subject matter described in decorative language, full of mundane uh, similes and metaphorical arrangements,
Similes.
similes and metaphorical arrangements. Yet, with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered decoration of a dead body. Wow. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literature, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. These literatures is in the mode of passion and ignorance are distributed under different labels, but they are hardly, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of the human being and thus the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. Such spiritually advanced men are called manasa. Also, because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. This completely forbids fruitive activities for gross bodily sense satisfaction or subtle speculation of the material egoistic mind. Literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in the material advancement of sense pleasure, are all dolls of the material energy. They take pleasure in a place where rejected subject matters are thrown. According to Swami Sridhara, this is the pleasure of the prostitute uh, hunters. But literatures which describe the glories of the Lord are enjoyed by the Paramhansas who have grasped the essence of human activities.
Nice. Very heavy
Yeah.
purport.
Comparison of a crow and a swan, and really talking about their attributes.
Hmm.
Really
Yeah.
nice, nicely said.
It reminded me of Kanai Thakur Prabhu's class. So he was mentioning the example of he was going in a train, and then another boy also came in. He got so many books, like a whole, pile of books, all the this mundane literature, sports and cinema and everything. And Prabhu also had his Bhagavad Gita or something. So both were reading, and then when the it was time to get off the train. This boy left all those books there, and Prabhu told him that, oh, your books. He said it's all kachra now. It's boring. I mean, it doesn't hold any value. But for us,
Hmm.
Bhagavad Gita is like thousands and thousands of years, same Bhagavad Gita we are reading, and it's still giving light to all of us.
Right.
It's the difference. Okay, let's move on to the next verse. 1511. So, very, very important verse. तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताघ विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबध्यवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशो अंकितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. So you will see this verse comes in introduction to Bhagavatam. I mean, in the beginning, Prabhupada says he uses this verse that you will find many frailties in my writing. Many maybe mistakes are there, or something is not properly written or something, but he quoted this verse. So let's read. Tat, that vak vocabulary, visarga creation, janata the people in general, agha since, viplava revolutionary, yasmin in which pratishlokam each and every stanza, abaddhavati irregularly composed, api in spite of, namani transcendental names, etc., anantasya of the unlimited Lord, Yashah glories Ankitani depicted, yet what Shranvanti do hear, Gayanti do sing, Grananti do accept, Sadhava the purified men who are honest. You wanna read, Prabhu? Or
Sure, Mataji, I can read.
okay,
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
On the other hand, that literature which is full of description of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different criteria, full of transcendental words directed towards
Creation, different
sorry,
creation.
different creation, right? Full Lord in is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives,
Impious,
impious
impious.
lives
Mhm.
of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
Mm.
Purport. It, it is the qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up the nectar from the stalk of poison, should accept gold even from the filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions by for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in in glorifying the Supreme Lord because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of result of propagating the transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become in their
Sane.
sane in their transactions. While preparing the commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God fearing, uh, pure hearted, and simple, and there was no questions of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is this is due not to the issue in question, but due to the polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is a propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for the disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world to do all the supermost good, as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting their responsible work, there's so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of the modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change of the heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and re spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our our
Present.
our presenting this matter in inadequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literally dependencies despite our
Discrepancies.
discrepancies sorry discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of society will still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. When there is a fire in a house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who are who may be foreigners, and yet, without knowing the language, the victims of the fire express themselves. and the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of the spiritual values. Technical science, so yeah. And thus we are concerned with the technique and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on slight provocation. This is the rule of the age of Kali or quarrel. The the atmosphere is already polluted with corruption dis- of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of same gratification,
Sense gratification.
sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature, yet it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is natural instinct, but because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under these circumstances, transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. It in the beginning they may not like it because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy, but we should have the sugar candy in the on we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults, for it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter.
Wow. Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
jai, jai.
So amazing. See how long is this purport?
But this context, what Srila Prabhupada wrote in this, is very much applicable today. All I mean,
Yes.
very much applicable today, in my opinion. Like because of the capitalist nature of the world,
Yeah.
everybody is trying to just snatch something from other.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it will become more and more pertinent as the time progresses, because the Kali
Right,
Yuga is progressing now.
right.
And
Yes.
Prabhupada is mentioning that due to Kali Yuga, this is happening. Because earlier people were God conscious, so they were not so much ambitious and too much like quarreling among each other. But now, on really small things, big wars are happening. So we are already
Right.
seeing that. But yeah, those who are God conscious, God is also conscious about them.
Yeah.
So he gives them wisdom. He gives them wisdom, and they are not duplicitous God conscious, right? Outside they show God consciousness, but inside they do whatever they want. Not like
Hmm.
that. Krishna knows our psychic movements as well. So, yeah, it is very, very important. I will just read this translation once. On the other
Sure.
hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, this is again Srila Narada is speaking to Vyasadeva. So that's why Prabhupada puts this verse usually in the beginning of his introduction. I mean, towards the end of his introduction, that although I have so many mistakes, I understand it could be there in my books, but you will accept it because it is all about Krishna. So even there are small mistakes. Uh, Please, I mean, the devotees will still accept it, and that's what we see when we do perform dramas also, right? So small mistakes, devotees ignore them because they are so devoted to Krishna that they see the leela, not the drama. So yeah, from the last verse, this becomes our big responsibility to distribute this Bhagavatam as much as possible. So Bhadra Purnima is coming in September. If you don't have Bhagavatam, you get one, and get one more to gift it to somebody else. So we have to spread Bhagavatam as much as possible. Okay, so we will stop here. If any comments are there to add, or delete anything, feel free. Um, Otherwise, we will end here. Yes, Sachin Prabhu, you have already spoken. So if you still want to add anything, feel free to do that.
No, Mataji, it was great. Could attend the class. That's reading.
It was really great.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
so we will stop. And I hope to see you on Thursday if everything goes well. Thank you. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhashya kripa sindhubhya patitanam
Krishna
pavanebhyo.
Mataji,
Hari bol.
Hare
Hari.
Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.